You've heard of lobster rolls, but have you ever heard of a grouper roll? Let's show you. Pick up the fin, go behind the head at an angle, flip it around, tip of the knife right at that opening, slide all the way down, rest your knife right on top of that skeleton. That way you can just slide right down, flush with those bones, not losing any of that delicious scamp grouper meat. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up, separate the connection the pin bones make to the ribs. That way you can just slide right down those pin bones, not losing any of the meat. Gorgeous fish. Skinning, we're gonna start off at a hard angle. Once we get our opening, get a good grip on that skin, flatten out your knife, and just slide right on over. When you get to the belly, be a little bit more careful because that's a thin line of meat and you don't want to lose it. I take my fish skin and use it for deboning. I don't want to rest my meat once it's not protected by the skin anymore on this dirty cutting board. So that skin is keeping our fish clean, and now we're going to take out the pin bone line. There's no ribs left in that from the way we filleted it. Let's go make a grouper roll. I like my butter, so we don't skimp out on that. I'm gonna open up these rolls, face down inside of that simmering butter. Slide them around, get them soak up all that good butter. Make sure they're pushed down a little bit, not pushed down too much. You don't wanna change the texture of your roll. You just wanna make sure they're laying flat. We're gonna chop up our scamp grouper. Man, look how beautiful that fish is. Absolutely gorgeous fish. We're gonna cut this into little cubes. Now that's gonna make an awesome sandwich. We're gonna salt the fish before simmering it in butter, but we're gonna save the pepper for last. Now if you come over here, we can check out how these buns look. That is perfection. That's what you wanna see right there. Soaked in butter, beautiful golden brown. These are good to go. Now, you guessed it, more butter. We want the fish to be soaked in it, cooked in it, almost like you're poaching the fish in the butter. Turning the heat down a little bit because you don't necessarily want the fish browned in the butter. A little browning's not a problem, but you want it more of a poached experience. We're gonna drop all that in there. If you want your fish to get a good browning, you want it to stay in one spot and don't touch it until it has that nice sear. If you don't want your fish to get a good browning, that's when you would want to move it around more. It won't get as brown if it's moving around constantly. This is gonna be delicious. We're gonna move them around, that way they don't get brown. Want our grouper to be poached in butter, not pan fried or sauteed. While that's simmering, let's get some of the veg cut up. And by some of the veg, I mean one stalk of celery. I'm a pro at cutting fish, not vegetables, so don't roast my knife skills too bad, all right? This is simmering up nicely. Let's move it around again so that way they don't brown up on us. Grouper has that nice, plump, fluffy texture to it, so using that as a lobster substitute, it's just banging. And if you're doing this at home, what will help poach your grouper in the butter better if you're using a pan is putting a lid on it. That'll steam the top while that way the bottom's simmering. We're hanging out outside cooking right now. We don't have a lid. We're making it work anyways. You like those nice big grouper pieces. You don't want to cut them too small. That way you've got a great texture in your mouth while you're eating it. Now these guys are done. I can tell it's done by looking at it, but I'm going to show you how to tell it's done if you don't know by looking at it. Take a thin, sharp knife. You don't have to have a fancy filleting knife. Not that this is a fancy filleting knife, but if you have a paring knife or any thin, sharp knife you have in your kitchen will do just fine. Find the biggest piece and poke it. If it slides in and out without any resistance at all, it's not done yet. Just like testing a baked potato. If you poke it and it doesn't slide in and out without any resistance, it's not done yet, and you want to keep it going until that knife pops in and out with ease. These guys are good to go. We're pulling them off. All right, we got our grouper cooled down. Now we're gonna squirt some mayo in there. Not too much. We're gonna add some celery. Not too much. And lemon juice. See how that looks? That looks like it needs a little bit more mayo. Crack some pepper on top of it. cracking peppers a little harder with lemony hands, but we got it. Mix that up. That looks awesome. Gonna take our roll. Generous serving. And there you go. There's our grouper roll. Time to get honest reactions from children. Eat this like a hot dog. You're gonna hold it like this and then take a big bite out of it. You can hold it. Yeah, get in there. So what do you think? Thumbs up? Yes. Big bite? Yeah. Thumbs up? Yes. Now, in no way, shape, or form is this gonna be a more affordable option to lobster. Fresh, locally caught grouper, wherever you live, is gonna be one of the most expensive pieces of fish you can get, but dang, is it worth it. Have a killer day, y'all.